Good morning. My name is Marva Williams, and I'm the worship associate this morning. And I will be joining Chrissy Bushyager, who's our Director of Religious Education, and the Reverend Roger Fritz, who is our interim minister. Our opening hymn is number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth. Please remain standing as we recite our covenant. Enriched by our differences and joined together in our search for meaning, we covenant with ourselves and each other to seek truth in a spirit of love, to strive for justice, and to serve others with a joyful heart.
You may be seated. Jackson and Weston Ammon will light our chalice for us this morning.
Thank you. So if you are viewing this service on Zoom, please remember that you can activate closed captioning if that's helpful for you. And if you would like to talk to others after the service, please hang around and there will be a virtual coffee hour. Please stay logged on and you will be taken into a breakout room. If you are attending this meeting in person, please join us for coffee hour after the service.
Each Sunday, we gather in community, carrying whatever emotions, whatever feelings we have brought with us this morning. We may be full of joy or sorrow or all the feels. And we honor those feelings by dropping stones into a bowl of water. Just as the stones are held by the water, so are we held in this community. Please feel free to come forward and drop a stone coming down this aisle and going up the center. If you are joining us on Zoom, you may enter your joys and sorrows into the chat. Thank you. have dropped a final stone for the joys and sorrows held by those online and those who are not with us this morning.
Nancy Wood has written, "It is our quiet time. We do not speak because the voices are within us. It is our quiet time. We do not walk because the earth is all within us. It is our quiet time. We do not dance because the music has lifted us up to a place where the Spirit is. It is our quiet time. We rest with all of nature. We wake when the seven sisters wake. We greet them in the sky over the opening of the kiva." Let's join in our centering song.
Our congregation is entirely self-governed and financially supported by the generous voluntary contributions of our members and friends. To this end, we have an offering to sustain the work of our beloved community. Once upon a time, we all offered our contributions through the plates. However, we're no longer doing that, as you all know, so please use the cell number that is posted, and text that number to provide your contribution. Thank you very much.
Good morning. So the story I'm going to tell today is a story that comes to us from the Lenape, the Lanai Lenape people, on whose ancestral and spiritual lands we live. This is a creation story, and perhaps you've heard or read other creation stories from other cultures. I find creation stories extremely fascinating. These are stories about how the world came to be. These are stories of people trying to make sense of the world around them. And so when you listen to this story, you might notice that there are some similarities to other creation stories that you might have heard. And I think that's one of the really interesting things about creation stories, is that there are similarities and differences between them. So here's how it goes. In the beginning, there was nothing but spirit matter. And that spirit matter was called Katanatoet. And from Katanatoet came thinking grandfather, and thinking grandfather's name was Kishlemnikong. Now, Kishlemnikong, one day, had a dream, and this was one of those super vivid dreams where it just feels so real. Have you ever had a dream like that where it just felt so real? Maybe you woke up and you were confused because you thought that what you dreamt really happened. That was the kind of dream that Kishlemnikong had. He dreamed of vast space with stars and a moon and a sun. He dreamed of a planet that had water and land. And on the land, there were creatures that walked on 4 feet, creatures that walked on 2 feet, creatures that slithered on the ground or swam in the water or flew in the air. Kishlemnikong saw all of these things in his dream. He heard the howl of the wind. He felt the coldness of the water. He felt other things too. He felt joy. He felt sorrow. He felt pain. He felt courage. He felt anger. All of these feelings would come to him through the wind. When Kishlemnikong's dream ended, he knew that what he had dreamed would happen. That is why he is called he who creates with his dreams. Now, Kishlemnikong needed some help. So he summoned 4 helpers, grandfathers north, east, west, and grandmother south, and they had control over earth, air, wind, and fire. And together, they created what Kishlemnikong had dreamed. They created the world. And for a while, everything worked together very, very well. Everything worked in harmony, and it was beautiful. But then something happened. You see, there was this bare tooth. And it was said that whoever had control of this bear's tooth would have immense power. And the people started to fight over the bear's tooth. And as they fought, they splintered. They formed different groups. They formed different tribes. They created different languages so that they could speak only with those people who were allied with them. They began to fight wars with one another. Now, Kishlemnikong saw this and was very upset because this was not how he had dreamed creation to be. So he sent another spirit down to earth. This spirit was named Nanapush, and Nanapush came to help the people figure out how to get along better. Nanapush created a sacred fire at the top of a very tall mountain. Now, this was not the first ever fire. They had fire before this, but it was the first sacred fire. And it burned strong and bright and sent up huge clouds of smoke. People all over saw this fire at the top of a mountain, and they didn't know what it was. It was different than anything they had seen. So they all went to the mountain, and there was Nanapush. And he instructed them to sit in a circle around the fire. And he passed out food that had been grown and tobacco. And the people sat around the fire, and they shared these crops, and they spoke with one another. And Nanapush told them, this is what you do when you have a disagreement. You build a sacred fire, you share your crops, and you talk with one another. And that is where you will find the wisdom you need to move forward. And that's where I'm going to end the story today, but there is so much more to this story. I encourage you, this week we are celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day. I encourage you, Google Lenape stories or Native people stories. There are so many, and that is a great way for you to learn a little bit more and to acknowledge and think about our Indigenous people. So I encourage you to do that. Thank you for listening to my story today. All right, friends, it is time to go to our religious education classes. Joy will play our sending song. She's going to play it through once, and we all sing together. The second time, our teachers go into the lobby and get ready, and then the third time, our kids can come and join their classes. All right, thank you.
Our reading this morning was written by Starhawk. Earth Mother, Star Mother, you who are called 1,000 names, may all remember we are cells of your body and dance together. You are the grain and the loaf that sustains us each day. And as you are patient, so shall we be patient with ourselves and each other. We are radiant light and sacred dark, the balance. You are the embrace that heartens and the freedom beyond fear. Within you, we are born. We grow, live, and die. You bring us around the circle to rebirth. With you, we dance.
Thank you. I visited Canyon de Chelly National Monument in northeast Arizona 10 years ago. Canyon de Chelly is home to the Navajo people. Within the canyon is Spider Rock, you can see on the screen, a rock that rises over 800 feet from the floor of the canyon. That path that you see next to it, that's not a path, that is a large road, to get a sense of how big this is. It's really amazing. There are many stories in Native American religion about this rock. For example, according to Native American mythology, a goddess named Spider Woman was responsible for the stars in the sky. She took a web that she had spun, she laced it with dew, threw it into the sky, and the dew became the stars. At that time, monsters roamed the land and killed many Navajo. Since Spider Woman loved the Navajo, she gave power for the monster slayer and the child born of water to search for the sun god who was their father. When they found him, Sun God showed them how to destroy all the monsters on the land and in the water. Because she preserved their people, the Navajo established Spider Woman among their most important and honored deities. She chose the top of Spider Rock for her home. Spider Woman instructed the Navajo women how to weave on a loom, and through many generations, the Navajo became accomplished weavers. There are many stories about Spider Woman. From their elders, Navajo children heard warnings that if they did not behave themselves, Spider Woman would let down her web ladder and carry them up to her home and devour them. The children also heard that the top of Spider Rock was white from the sun-bleached bones of Navajo children who did not behave themselves. And still another story, one day a peaceful Navajo youth was hunting in a branch of Canyon de Chelly. Suddenly he saw an enemy tribesman who chased him deeper into the canyon. As the peaceful Navajo boy ran, he looked quickly from side to side, searching for a place to hide or to escape. Directly in front of him stood the giant Spider Rock. What could he do? He knew it was too difficult for him to climb. He was near exhaustion. Suddenly, before his eyes, he saw a silken cord hanging down from the top of the rock tower. The Navajo youth grasped the magic cord, which seemed strong enough. He quickly tied it around his waist, and with its help, he climbed the tall tower, escaping from his enemy, who then gave up the chase. When the young Navajo reached the top, he stretched out to rest. There he discovered a most pleasant place with eagle's eggs to eat and the night's dew to drink. He was surprised to learn that his rescuer was Spider Woman. She told him how she had seen him and his predicament. She showed him how she made her strong web cord and anchored one end of it to the point of a rock. she showed him how she let down the rest of her web cord to help him to climb the rugged Spider Rock. Later, when the Navajo youth felt assured his enemy was gone, he thanked Spider-Woman warmly, and he safely descended to the canyon floor by using her magic cord. He ran home as fast as he could, running to report to his tribe how his life was saved by Spider-Woman. Now, I wanted to tell you these stories about Spider-Woman today because Monday is Indigenous Peoples Day. The first state to recognize the day was South Dakota back in 1989. Year by year, the movement to change Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day has spread to more and more states, towns, and cities across the United States. A year ago, President Biden became the first United States president to formally recognize the holiday, signing a presidential proclamation declaring a national holiday on the second Monday of October to honor the cultures and history of Native American peoples. So on the eve of this special day, I want to look at the spiritual and religious beliefs of the first people to live on this continent. Of course, Native Americans do not practice a single uniform religion throughout North America. A rich diversity exists among the different Indian nations. Furthermore, a large variation exists within each group over time. Yet in spite of all this diversity, scholars report that many North American Indians share a similar worldview. Concerning gods and spirits, while the European American religion, the one we're most familiar with, focuses on a monotheistic God, one God, Native Americans emphasize an abundance of many spirits. Several spirits control the atmospheric powers. Many spirits influence human life on Earth. Some spirits, including Mother Earth, roam under the world. Often, Native Americans conceive of these spirits, or most of them, tied to a supreme being, usually the sky god, who supervises or takes on the functions of various spiritual powers. When Indians perceive the universe as a unit and indivisible, the figure of the sky god stands in focus. When their attention is drawn to particular acts of the divine, such as thunder, food giving, healing, then Indians put individual spirits in the forefront. They place that supreme sky god being in the background. The spirits interact freely with humans, especially in dreams. The Native Americans usually divide the universe into three levels: heaven, earth, and the underworld. These various worlds are often united through a world tree. The world tree has its roots in the underworld, stretches through the world of humans and animals, and has its crown in the sky world. But there are some variations which exist in this world picture. One tribe in British Columbia divides the universe into 5 worlds, of which ours is the middle one. Navajos believe in 4 subterranean worlds. Ritual structures such as the sun dance post, represent the world's tree. Native Americans mark the 3 levels of the universe on the Sundance Post. The eagle is at the top, manifesting the sky world. The buffalo skull is on the trunk or at the base. That is the world of animals and humans. And offerings of tobacco and water on the earth close to the base symbolize the relationship to the underworld. Now, according to Native American myths of origin, in the beginning, the Supreme Being created all beings on earth, essentially human. All beings were essentially human. However, a change took place that turned many of these first creatures into animals and into birds. Only those who today are human beings retain their original forms. Because of this genesis, there is a close relationship that still exists today between people and animals. Indians do not make a strong distinction between human beings and animals. We are all sisters and brothers, and our task is to respect and to live in harmony with the animals. The bond between animals and humans is expressed in ceremonial dress. In Native American religion, the feather suggests spiritual power. This bond is also expressed in traditional dances, when men imitate the movements of buffalo wearing their horns and skins. These are acts in which Indians, by imitating the wild, express their desires and expectations. Such a ritual tells us of the Indians' veneration for the active powers of the universe. The ceremonial dances are like a prayer. A part of the Native Americans' close kinship to the animals is the idea of spirits as animals. Dreams and visions have strengthened and perpetuated the belief in animal spirits. For example, in dreams, some bears can talk or change forms, and such bears are considered mysterious spirits. Objects of nature, such as trees or mountains, can also be powerful spirits. For example, the mythical world of the Navajo is situated among 4 sacred mountains that enclose the central country of the Navajo people. Big Sheep Peak, you see on the screen, is in the north. White Shell Mountain is in the east. The Turquoise Mountain is in the south. And then the Sunset Mountains, or the San Francisco Peaks near Flagstaff, are in the west. I remember I first took a photo of the San Francisco Peaks when I was only 12 years old. And I've camped in the area and seen the mountains rise over the red mesas. I feel the special power that they hold. My life is immersed in rational Unitarianism. We are rational religious thinkers. Therefore, Native American spirituality, with its stories, its dances, its costumes, its myths, feels strange to my logical mind. Still, I'm attracted to the Native American spirituality. They teach that even on the vast empty spaces of the Southwest, we are never alone. We are always part of a community that includes our family, our friends, our ancestors, the animals, the trees, the mountains, and the spirits. I have a spirit visiting me right here. A Mohawk woman told a story about being approached by members of a foundation. They were dedicated to New Age spirituality. I can imagine a group of us doing this. We go and we visit the Native Americans dedicated to New Age spirituality. We introduce ourselves, we describe our various spiritual pursuits in our own religion. And then we request that this Mohawk woman facilitate our participation in some kind of American Indian spiritual ceremony. When this happened, she told them this. Friends, this is what you do. First, you prepare a feast. Cook up lots and lots of food. As you are cooking it, think about the people you'll be inviting. Think about their lives, and think about your own. Think about the ingredients also, where they come from, and who helped you bring them to you. Then everybody that comes, you feed them. And you listen to them. You pay attention to their advice, their problems. You hold their hands, if that's what they need. If any of them needs to stay over, make a place for them. Then next month, you do the same thing again. And again, 4 times in the same way. That's it. You've done an Indian spiritual ceremony. In other words, we cannot experience Native American spirituality by observing Indians at a ceremony, by coming and consuming it. We experience it by becoming a member of a community that is enacting the ceremony. If our lives lack spiritual depth, the answer is to become part of a community. For 5,000 years, people have lived in Canyon de Chelly. For thousands of years, Native Americans have told stories about a goddess named Spider Woman who lives at the top of Spider Rock. Spider Woman is creator of the world in the Native American religion. She was responsible for the stars in the sky. She took a web and she spun it and laced it with dew and threw it into the sky, and the dew became the stars. Native American spirituality is a rich mythology of stories about being connected to our family and friends, to our ancestors, to the sun, to the moon, to the planets, and to the stars. It is what the modern world has lost in our cities, which are so bright that we can't see the stars, and our gadgets, which make so much noise we can't hear the wind. It is the missing ingredient. In our anger, our suspicion, our alienation, our fragmentation, our competitiveness, it is we who are the savages. So my message this morning is simple. Let us remember again that we are connected to the mountains, to the rivers, to the streams, to the planets, to the animals, to the earth, to our ancestors, and to those who come after us. Let's sing our closing hymn, All Creatures of the Earth and Sky. Let's join together in the closing words. For those who come here seeking God, may God go with you. For those who come embracing life, may life return your affection. And for those who come to seek a path, may a way be found, and the courage to take it, step by step. Blessed be.